Nice to meet you. How are you doing? That's so cool. Sorry, just like a full marine biologist. That's so cool.
Being an activist at 18, that's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I think at the end, we want to contribute. Like we want to leave a grain of sand to help the ecosystem, to help the earth. And for me, contributing on scientific data and helping to improve marine ecosystem is what I would like to have as a result.
I also love like how I love what I love about climate is like the amount of different approaches there are. So like kind of conservation, the data, the scientific kind of approach, and then maybe like the legal approach, like the advocacy approach. And I love just kind of seeing them come together and learning from them. So it's just really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I think that we are working in every aspect, and together we can make like this work,
So many different sciences, and just looking at the fact that like we need nearly everyone in society in some way to contribute. So interesting to see how like all of society needs to come together in different ways.
Well, one of the limitations can be that not everyone knows about climate change or the effects of it, How do I make a person understand that they are fishing too much and they have to reduce the fishing? It's very difficult because they receive money for that.
People's livelihoods. And I know in Ireland, for instance, it's often seen as this conflict of like farmers versus the climate movement, which of course isn't the situation at all. We need farmers, we need fishers, we need everyone to come together, and we also need to make sure that we're supporting people for a just transition. The whole idea of like bringing people along towards a fairer society, not leaving them behind, not leaving certain livelihoods behind. So I think
now that we are talking about different communities like farmers, fishers, like how important do you think that local actions
when you support people at the grassroots, you really do have a much larger impact that builds up over time and challenges the systems we have at the moment.
And maybe these communities that makes local action can become storytelling for other communities and to inspire and to keep improving, So I do think that it's very important to create local action.
Kind of linking on from that whole idea of different communities is kind of what do you see the role of like different generations and like how important is intergenerational equity to you in these kind of conversations?
Well, I do think that there's groups that are disconnected from environmentalism, but I think that this depends whether you are involved or you have seen negative impacts. If you see negative impacts, that is when they take action. That is when they realize and they think like, "Ooh, this is happening. Climate change is real."
I think that's like a massive problem, particularly in like kind of global north, kind of EU, North American kind of countries. And like even here in Ireland, we have heat waves, and our national broadcaster would be like, "Oh, isn't this great weather?" rather than connecting it to the climate crisis. And obviously these are the countries, Ireland, the EU, North America, they're the ones most responsible for the climate crisis, but obviously seeing the least effects. I think a lot of the countries here manage to be disconnected from it, and kind of like I've seen a lot of apathy from leaders in these countries and from EU leaders and things like that, because these countries often have the money to build adaptation and mitigation measures.
If you don't see it, if you don't know about it, you're not going to get involved into it and you're not going to do anything about it. So I think that educate people, it's a key inclusivity strategy, maybe.
Yeah, 100%. I think education is well aimed at like how to kind of take action. I know that's something that's been talked about a bit here in Ireland in terms of like how you can actually make education that teaches people what's happening, then gives them the skills to go and like make a change, whether that's in the community or like at a national level. I think on the idea of education as like an inclusivity tool, I think it's so important that like often the education around climate is also at a human level, and that it elevates the voices of people who've seen the impacts, so you can like, including that in the climate crisis.
Yeah, that's very true, because if you make small changes, if you tell people like you just have to do small changes in your life, you can make the difference. Like, for example, conscious consumption, or try to not use plastic, reduce meat consumption, like buy less of everything. If you give them like the tools or the small instructions to make a better place or not contributing to climate change, I think that we can make this work,
Definitely. And I think even building up from that, like kind of starting at that like kind of small level, and then giving people tools maybe to coming together to lobby a decision maker in some kind of way, or organizing protesting. Like I think building up from kind of smaller things to like community-based actions to even wider things that really show people how they can come together and create a difference at a societal level as well as an individual one, I think is so important.
Yeah. And what do you want to see in the future? Like, what are your hopes?
That's a big one. I think a really big thing, and like kind of big picture kind of dream world, all that kind of thing, is really one where people kind of put forward policy that changes that and don't continue to allow companies to kind of fail us in this way, and for that kind of systems that we have. And I think changing it towards a society that's fair and that really places like equality and justice at the heart of everything.
So yeah, I hope that there's going to be more empathy, more different perceptions about the earth, and a bit of solidarity and love. I think that if we mix all that, we can make a change, like a big change. So yeah.
You said it perfectly there. Like the whole ideas of hope and empathy, like I think spot on.
Hashtag
like connected.
Oh no.
Okay.